Good afternoon, everybody, or morning, whatever time it is. Sorry about that. My phone decided to shut off because of the temperature. It is quite warm here in Florida, as always, and so I had to switch over to my HD camera. That's what we're on right now to show you the rest of the tour. Here at the Heritage Village in St. Petersburg, Largo, Florida. So we're gonna just finished up on the log cabin on my phone, and so now we're gonna move on to the train station at Sulphur Springs. And now Sulphur Springs station. This is the old train depot. You can see the old railroad signs. Ah, you wanna all aboard the Express. Before the railroads came to Pinellas, sailors traveled by foot and buggy, on horseback, or by boat. 1880s, Russian immigrant Peter Demens launched his Orange Belt Railway in Pinellas, and Henry Plant brought his railroad to Tampa. Flourished after the railroad service came to Pinellas, and that's where the original site is, as you can see, kind of. Of course, this is one of my favorite ones because I love trains, and you can just kind of, I'm going to just kind of look, and you can see the timetables from the trains. You can see the numbers on the side there that represent the train number that you'll be riding on. So you can go Jacksonville to Richmond, Virginia, Washington to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, New York to Boston. And number 308, engine 308, engine 306. You got the Florida Sunbeam, Tampa, West Palm Beach, Miami, Atlanta, Chattanooga, Cincinnati, Chicago. Number 344 is Jacksonville to Richmond, Washington to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia to New York. The Sun Queen, Jacksonville to Richmond. They have a lot that go to Jacksonville to Richmond. Washington to Pittsburgh, engine 108. Then engine 307. Boston, New York, Philadelphia. So they travel literally the East Coast on all of them. 305, engine 343, and engine 107. And so here's kind of the Seaboard Railroad Company, the passenger station. You got the old family, the look out for cars. This is the old, this would be an old railroad crossing it's called a wigwam crossing because of the way that when a train would approach, the crossing bell would sway back and forth like this. And it would blink and ding and make bell sounds. We can't go up to the caboose, unfortunately, but I could show you the caboose. And also what this is. This is the 1840s Staff Auburn and Syracuse Line Railroad in New York came up with the idea for a caboose. 5-member crew included an engineer, fireman, conductor, and 2 brakemen. The conductor who rode in the caboose with the brakeman was the boss on the train. Riding up front, the engineer drove the train and the fireman kept it fueled. Early years of the steam power, brakemen manually stopped each car as the train slowed to a stop by hand. So they had to use, that's why they had hand brakes, like the one you see on the caboose here. I'll show you. Right there. That's the handbrake, and each time the train would have to slow down, the brakeman would be here in the caboose, and he would have to manually turn that wheel clockwise to apply the brakes for the caboose in order to get the train to slow down. But nowadays, trains have automatic brakes. Everything's automatic now, thankfully, because I bet that was a lot of effort to try to apply those brakes. And today's freight train crew only requires a conductor and an engineer. The caboose, once a proud symbol of our nation's railroad system, is becoming extinct, unfortunately. And I always like cabooses, honestly. I mean, they're very historic car used in the past. Right now it's being closed for restoration, so they're trying to restore it. I'll kind of show you around here. This is my favorite part of the exhibit, honestly, just because it's trains. It has to do with trains. And you can see just how big the wheels are. And of course, right here you can see the village garage. And these wagons are used for to haul railroad equipment. These wagons are for to haul railroad equipment to help keep the tracks up to date and to keep the tracks kind of sort of healthy in a way, so they don't rot away and cause a derailment, train wrecks, or whatever. So they kind of did a lot of maintenance for the railroad. Of course, here, oh look, you can see they got the little face things. You could be different icons and different caricatures and different people, or scuba diver. So now we move on. So now we move on to the H.C. Smith Groceries and Meat Company. Now that's this is of course a grocery store. It used to be a grocery store, so we'll kind of take a look at what this was. And it's a one-stop shop. 1900 and 1920, St. Petersburg population soared from 1,505 to 14,000. Opened in Mound Park neighborhood, service Waltzinghem nearby community were like Roser Park. Shoppers came to the small store from 1915 to 1955. This building had different owners and names. Most years thrived, but by the 1950s, the small store struggled to compete as shoppers flocked to downtown stores or air-conditioned shopping centers and later became mega malls. There we go. And this is kind of what it looked like. And so that was like it's like an old country store, pretty much. This one, this store happens to be, looks like an old, this is actually the McMullen House, right here. We have the McMullen House coming up life in the early years. Daniel and Margaret McMullen and their children built this home in 1868. They came in the early 1850s, and it was during the Civil War years they left, returning by wagon to Largo area in 1865. 160-acre homestead, they raised livestock and grew crops, shared the frontier with the bears, deers, and turkeys, often seen near their home. Loud squeals from the hogs startled their sleeping children when the bears, searching for their next meal, raided the nearby pig pens. Oh no! So they had kind of some unwanted guests continuing to uh, trespass over their property, like bears, deer, and turkeys. And so I bet that wasn't pleasant. So our next stop is the, looks like another house. I don't know if it's the, yes it is, the what, Willing Waltzinghem House. Yeah, the Waltzinghem House. There it is. Jesse Walsingham came to the Central Pinellas in the mid-1890s. Young man fell in love with Mary O'Queen, a member of the McMullen pioneer family. For the next 30 years, Jesse engaged in various occupations. He traveled the peninsula, delivering ice, operated a meat and citrus packing house, managed a hardware store, working as a butcher, sold fertilizer. So he was a very hard-working man, it seems like, and very much indeed. So this is this was their house. Kind of neat. I really like the color on it. Now, unfortunately, this house looks like it's being renovated. Um, so we'll just kind of look at the outside of it and what it is. There's a bungalow occupi- occupied for almost 100 years by the same Clearwater family. Examples of craftsman styles and some masonry, built-in casework, and wood roof brackets. Let's see it. There we go. And there's the house. And I can't see all of it just because it's not there. Go public access. This was the Gandhi Bridge Tower. Revolutionized travel between Tampa and St. Pete. That long stretch of highway that crosses over the bay, this was there at one point. George Gandhi began designing the bridge in 1913, but World War I halted the plan. After the war, Gandhi partnered with Eugene Elliott to fund the bridge by selling stocks. From 1922 to 1924, crew constructed the 6-mile-long bridge. Upon completion, the $3 million bridge became one of the longest in the world. Cars paid a 75-cent toll plus 10 cents per passenger. The toll plaza operated until 1944 when the federal government took ownership of the motorway. George Gandhi, he was born in New Jersey. He and his wife Clara moved their 5 children to St. Pete, partnered with F.A. Davis on a streetcar project. During the time, Gandhi managed a utility company but lavished the Plaza Theater. In 1910, he formed the Gandhi Bridge Company, began planning. Despite countless doubts, Gandhi completed the bridge at age 73. Dedication ceremony. Gandhi spoke only 4 words. The bridge is built. And that's where it stood, the tower. And here we have the old water tower and the old windmill. Back in the early days, the windmill was used a lot on farms and a lot to project the wind. and which way it was blowing, so I don't know if it's something of a conspiracy theory or not, but if the wind blows to the east, I think you're predicting good crop weather, harvest weather. If it blows to the west, be prepared for a, a slow or bad crop year, I guess. That's just a theory. I don't know that for sure. But anyway, let's move on to the other half of the campus, other half of the little campgrounds. Yeah, here's the map. Here. And so, we're on the other side. We walk across the outhouses, the Morehouse, Union Academy, and the sugarcane mill. So we're about to cross back over. Let's just keep going. There's the outhouse, I think. Right here. We'll stop at that house. Cool. Grass is a little wet. But, yep, here we go. Here are the outhouses. This is what an outhouse looks like for people of this century.